Good day, everyone. Here are the Group 2 reporters. Me, John Hernan L. Sinido. Next is Rogin Babaran, Antoinette Bautista, Rinabel Sabanico, and also John Minson Bandalon. Today, we are presenting the financial statements. What is financial statements? So these are written records that conveys the business activities and its financial performance of a company. Financial statements also give insights to its performance, operations, and cash flows. Then, ang financial statements din ay nagbibigay ng corporate's financial health. Nagpapakita din siya ng company's revenue, expenses, kung ito ba ay profitability, and kung meron ba silang mga debt. We have 5 major financial statements. These are the statement of financial position or balance sheet, statement of comprehensive income or income statement, statement of cash flows, statement of changes in owner's equity, and notes to financial statement.
Our next topic is about the 5 major financial statements, and I'm going to discuss the 3 of them, which are the balance sheet, income statement, and cash flows. So, let's go to the first one, which is the balance sheet. So, what is balance sheet? Balance sheet refers to a financial statement that report a company's asset, liabilities, and shareholders' equity at a separate point of time. Then, it also provides snapshot of what company owns and owes, as well as the amount of invested by shareholders. So, ang balance sheet, it is also divided into 2 main sections, which are the assets, liability, and equity. So, what is asset section? So, ang asset section po is composed of 2, which are the current asset and the non-current asset. So, ang current asset, it is a short-term asset of a company that can be liquefied easily or quickly. Then also, they are on the balance sheet for almost 1 year or less. Example po nito are cash, accounts receivable, inventories, and prepaid expenses. So, yung prepaid expenses is ayun yung mga goods na i-advance payment na natin. Next one naman po is yung non-current asset. So, yung non-current asset, it is a company's long-term investment. Then, they are on the balance sheet for few years. So, ang example nito are plants, equipment, and furnitures. Next one naman po is yung liability section. So, yung liability section, it composed of 2, which are current liabilities and non-current liabilities. So, yung current liabilities, example po nun are accounts payable and accrued expenses. So, example of, the meaning of accounts payable, it is the sum of money to be paid by supplier. Ito yung mga utang natin or yung total na kailangan nating bayaran. Next naman yung accrued expenses. So, sum of money to be paid in the future. Then, example nito is payroll and taxes. Next naman po is yung non-current liabilities, which mean the company's long-term debts. Yung mga pangmatagalan na utang ng kumpanya. Example po nito is yung loans contracted in the bank. Then, lastly is yung equity section. Example nito ay owner's equity, retained profits, and stocks. So, in conclusion, balance sheet helps us to assess how risky a business is. Also, we should remember that if the liability is much higher than equity and asset, then it is too much dangerous for the business or the company. Next one is income statement. So, income statement, it is a financial statement which shows the profitability of a company. So, dito, pinapakita yung ability ng isang kumpanya na makagawa ng profit or earnings. So, it is divided into 2 main sections, which are the revenue and expenses. So, ano nga ba yung revenue? So, revenue, it is an income or money that is generated by any business. Ito yung kinita mo mula sa business mo. So, how can we get the revenue? So, here is the formula para makuha natin yung revenue. So, revenue is equals to sales or quality sold times price per unit or average price of service and sale. Then, expenses naman, it can be classified into three, which are the cost of sales or also known as cost of goods sold. It is incurred to generate sales. Ayun yung cost of goods sold, yung nagagastos natin para makabuo tayo ng product or makagawa tayo ng sales. Next one is yung operating expense. Ito naman yung ini-incurred natin para sa pag-ooperate ng business or nagagastos natin sa pag-ooperate ng business like rent and salaries. So, yung pala, ang example pala ng cost of sales are raw materials and shipment costs. Then, ang example naman ng operating expense ay rent, salaries, ganon. Kung ano yung mga nagagastos natin or pinagagastusan natin para mag-operate yung business. Next naman is yung non-operating expenses, which are the taxes and interest. So, here are some formulas paano natin mataturn yung revenues into gross profit, operating income, and net income. So, kasi 'di ba sabi din dito, yung income statement din ang nagsushow and nag-i-indicate kung paano mo matatransform yung revenue sa mga profit. So, first formula is revenue, isusubtract natin yung revenue sa cost of sold or cost of sales. Then, ang kakalabasan noon is gross profit. So, pag sinabi natin gross profit, ayun yung kinita or nagawang pera ng kumpanya na naisubtract na lahat ng expenses na related sa manufacturing and selling ng product. Next one naman is pag isinubtract natin yung revenue sa operating expenses is magkakaroon tayo ng or makukuha natin ang operating income. So, dito naman, it is the income pag nakuha na natin or na subtract natin lahat ng expenses na ginamit sa operation and depreciation. Next one naman is when we subtract revenue to non-operating expenses is we're going to get net income. Pag sinabi nating net income, ito yung amount na nagawa ng business after i-deduct lahat ng cost, allowance, and taxes. So, meaning, kagaya nga ng sabi ko kanina, ang income statement ay nag-i-indicate then kung paano i-turn or i-transform yung revenue sa mga net income, profit, and also gross profit. So, in conclusion, income statement helps business owners to decide whether they can generate profit by increasing revenues or by decreasing cost or both. So, makakapag-isip yung mga business owners kung ano ba yung dapat nilang gawin sa business nila kasi nakikita nila doon yung income na pumapasok sa kanila. Next one is cash flow. So, cash flow provides information about the cash receipts and cash payments of an entity during period. Also, it shows how much cash the business produced, invested, and raised. So, dito, pinapakita yung flow ng money sa isang company. Like, kung paano lumalabas yung pera, kung paano pumapasok yung pera sa atin. So, maiintindihan natin lahat ng about sa money through cash flows. So, it reflects three main activities which are the operating activities, investing activities, and financing activities. First one is yung operating activities. So it is cash earned and spent on the day-to-day operation of our business, of your business. Next one naman po is yung investing activities. So it is the investment made by your business through cash earned or spent by purchasing equipment or other investment made by your business. And then last one is yung financial activities. Ito naman yung cash earned spent by running your operations through lines of credit or loans for your business. So, ang isang business ay kinakailangan na mayroong positive cash flow for it to remain successful. Kasi, if may problema sa cash flow, then baka ayun na din yung magsilbing problema ng company or mag-lead sa pagkasarado or pagkabagsak ng isang kumpanya.
Statement of changes in equity refers to the reconciliation of opening and closing balances of equity in a company during a particular reporting period. So, ito yung pag-explain ng connection between a company income statement and balance sheet. And it includes all the transactions not captured in these two financial statements, such as dividend payments, equity withdrawals, accounting policy changes, and correction of prior period errors. Statement of changes in equity refers to the reconciliation of opening and closing balances of equity in a company during a particular reporting period. So, ito yung pag-explain ng connection between a company income statement and balance sheet. And it includes all the transactions not captured in these two financial statements, such as dividend payments, equity withdrawals, accounting policy changes, and correction of prior period errors. So, if these two financial statement ay na-prefer natin ng tama, ibig sabihin yung statement natin will be also correct. Example, makikita nyo on January 1, Santos Capital, yung ini-invest niya during the year is 300,000 plus the net income for the year, which is 51,414. Total of 351,414. Less natin yung withdrawal, which is 25,000. The net increase in owner's equity and the capital of Santos at the end of the year is 326,414. So, kung yung total asset at total ng liabilities plus equity ay parehas, ibig sabihin yung statement ay tama. Notes are in fact very significant because they explain the number and expand the information about them. So, yung International Financial Reporting Standard or what we call IFRS ay ginawang mandatory requirements yung pagdidisclose ng lahat ng necessary information na meron yung isang company related to the financial statement para mas maintindihan ng users. Example, mahanap mo yung fixed assets sa balance sheet. Pero the details will be available in the notes to the fixed asset. So, let's proceed to the next topic, which is purpose of financial statement analysis. So, what is the purpose of financial analysis? So, the purpose of financial analysis is seek to evaluate management performance in several important areas, including profitability, efficiency, and risk. So, the goal of financial statement analysis is to evaluate the financial strength and performance of a company so that important decision can be made. So, financial statement analysis required a combination of analytic, problem solving, and technical skill. So, accountants have the ability to bring short and long term benefits to business by providing detailed statement analysis. So, financial statement analysis can be conducted using either horizontal and vertical analysis or analysis that uses ratios. So, what is horizontal analysis? So, horizontal analysis involves comparing financial information over a series of reported periods, with a base year being chosen as a starting point for future comparison. So, while vertical analysis involves an operational analysis of a financial statement. Every line item is listed as a percentage of another line item, with a base year being chosen to compare future of the same year statement. Instead of being used as an alternative to horizontal analysis, vertical analysis is used alongside it. Financial statement analysis is crucial for complying with business laws and regulations, while also meeting the needs of stakeholders and various other parties. Pero, in order to conduct accurate financial statement analysis, developing skills and intuition is as important as following best accounting practices. So, example, financial analysis is analyzing a company's performance and trend by calculating financial ratios like profitability ratio, including the net profit ratio, which is calculated net profit divided by sales.
So, hello, my name is Reina Sabanico and I'm here to discuss the 5 ways manager can use finance to make a better decisions. So, number one is perform financial statement analysis. This is a very important strategy order for a company to grow and succeed. As business owners, kailangan natin kung saan pumapasok at lumalabas ang pera sa business or company natin. Also, by using this strategy, we can make comparison on how we can allocate cash funds. Madali nating ma-assess kung saan tayo sumosobra sa gastos at saan medyo kailangan pang bigyan ng pansin. This is also a one way how we can estimate the income or profit our company will get. Number 2 is estimate the financial impacts of projects and benefits. This strategy mainly focuses on the projects every businesses are implementing by using cost and benefit analysis. Madaling ma-identify kung anong projects yung dapat ituloy or ano yung dapat itigil na. Every project should gain more benefit than losses. It's like being wise on how to balance our fundings kung saan yung alam mong mas pakinabang doon ka. Parang sa buhay, never ever make yourself siksik sa mga taong wala namang pakinabang. Doon tayo sa mga taong makakatulong sa atin sa mabuting paraan. So, number 3 is learn how to budget. So, this is basically what we need to do as of this moment. As a student, we should learn how to budget. Kasi once ma-master natin, madadala natin yung ugali na to in the near future. So, in any businesses, this is really important. It's like setting and achieving goals at the same time. This will give you a sight in the future kung saan mahaharating ang business na meron ka. Mas maganda na yung prepared kaysa sa biglang cost na mag-i-incur kasi failed to plan your budget. May kasabihan tayo, prevention is better than cure. So, bilang isang entrepreneur, learn how to budget and prepare budget plans ahead of time. So, number 4 is involve your team in decision making. In order for a business to work well and succeed, a boss or a manager should always include the insight of his subordinates. Yes, as owners, we know what best for our company, but it never make you less a human if manghingi ka ng ideya sa mga empleyado mo. Tandaan natin, you can never do anything alone. Mas maganda yung maraming utak ka nag-iisip kasi iba-iba ang perception and idea. There are innovative ideas na lalabas kasi hindi ka nag-stick sa old school strategies. So, last is track financial performance. Mahalaga din sa business na natatrack ng financial KPI kung saan alam natin kung ano-ano ang strong elements na meron ng company natin. In order for us to have a good decision making, there are a lot of factors we need to consider and ayun yung dapat monitored sa pag-start pa lang ng business. To assess financial health, it is important for us to analyze profit year for year. This will help us foresee how our business will do for the upcoming years. That's all. Thank you.
There are three major tools in financial statement analysis. First is the horizontal analysis or comparative analysis. Next is the vertical analysis or the common size statements. The last is the ratio analysis.
Welcome to horizontal and vertical analysis. What is horizontal analysis of the financial statement? It is a percentage analysis of change in comparative financial statement. Okay, pag horizontal analysis, we are comparing it on the basis of time. So, na-assess natin yung percentage of change. So, that's why our formula will be the amount for the later period divided by the amount of the earlier period, or we can say it the base year. So again, pag horizontal analysis, ang kino-compare natin to different period of the same of a company. Okay, next slide. Here's the example. The formula will be magkano nung 2020 minus magkano siya ng 2019. Ayan. Divided by the base year. Ang base year natin is yung 2019. That's our base. That's the base year, 2019. So, let's now go to the problem. Next slide. Okay. Let's say na ito yung financial statement. For the year 2019, napapansin niyo po dyan, may 2019, may 2020. Okay, for our solution, meron na siyang percentage. Ayan, next slide. Here's the example. So, tingnan natin sa cash. Yung change daw, tumaas siya ng 5%. So, paano natin nakuha yung 5%? Ayan. 110 minus 200. So, di ba? 10 divided by base amount. Okay. So, di ba yung base amount natin is yung cash for the year 2019? So, 10 divided by 200. So, the percentage of change is 5%. So, okay ha? Importante ang increment. So, for example, sa cash, since tumaas yung cash, positive din yung change. And tingnan nyo yung for accounts receivable. Diba for 2019-2020 bumaba ang AR. So that's why the percentage of change will also be negative. Okay. So I hope na you try to solve everything na nandito. And the formula na diniscuss ko kanina, ito yung mga answer nila. So that's it for horizontal analysis. So again ha, for horizontal analysis, percentage of change. So ang kino-compare natin two different period.
Ratio analysis is a analytical tool wherein the financial ratios is computed. Based siya sa financial information ng isang company na available yung annual reports nila doon. So, ang ratio analysis din ay importante because it is an effective way to evaluate the company's financial performance and para ma-monitor na din yung performance ng company. Then, this ratio, it helps to understand the financial statements of your business. There are four major categories ng ratio analysis, and these are the liquidity ratios, solvency ratios, efficiency ratios, and the last is the profitability ratios. Ang una is yung liquidity ratios. So these ratios indicate the company's cash level, the liquidity position, and its capacity to meet its short-term obligations. So, sa liquidity ratios, dito mo makikita kung ang isang company is may capabilities na makapagbayad nung utang nila, then doon nila madidetermine na may kakayahan pala. So, under ng liquidity ratios ay meron tayong apat na mga kailangan isolve. The first is the current ratio, which is equals to current assets divided by current liabilities. Quick ratio, cash and cash equivalents plus accounts receivable divided by current liabilities. And the last is the cash ratio, that is equals to cash and cash equivalents divided by current liabilities. So sa example natin ay makikita natin na meron tayong current ratio na that is equals to current assets divided by current liabilities. In this example, meron tayong current assets na $162,819,000 divided by $105,718, that is equals to 1.54 na current ratio. So yung current ratio natin is it measures a company's capacity na kung may kakayahan ba sila to meet its current obligations that is due in 1 year. Next is the quick ratio, which is the formula of it is the cash and cash equivalents plus accounts receivables divided by current liabilities. So sa example natin, makikita natin na meron tayong $48,844,000 divided by $105,718,000 na current liabilities na ang makukuha natin quick ratio is 0.68. The next naman is yung quick ratio. So, important itong quick ratio dahil dito nalalaman ng internal management and external investors kung yung company will run out of cash o mawalan sila ng pera. Dito naman sa cash ratio, ang formula natin is it is equals to cash and cash equivalents divided by current liabilities. So, makikita natin sa example natin na meron tayong cash and cash equivalents na 48,844,000 na i-divide natin sa $105,718,000 na makukuha natin cash ratio is 0.46. Next naman natin itatackle is yung cash ratio. So, importante siya sa company because malalaman ng company na meron silang more cash on hand, lower short-term liabilities, or a combination of the two. So, next naman natin na itatackle is the solvency ratio. So, these ratios indicate whether the company has the capability to meet its long-term obligations by comparing its debt level with its assets and equity. So, yung solvency ratio is important because it is the financial ratio na kadalasan na ginagamit ng mga investor to identify the undervalued stocks that is increasing over the time. Under the solvency ratios, meron tayong 3 formulas to solve. The first is the debt to equity ratio, that is equals to total debt divided by total equity. Next is the debt ratio, that is equals to total debt divided by total assets. And the last is the interest coverage ratio, that is equals to earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization divided by the interest expense. So, sa first part ng solvency ratio is yung debt to equity ratio. So, mahalaga ang debt to equity ratio sa company dahil dito nalalaman yung stability of a company and its ability to raise additional capital to grow. Yung formula naman ng debt to equity ratio is equals to total debt divided by total equity. Sa example na makikita nyo sa slide is meron tayong $108,000,000 na total debt na i-divide natin na sa $90,488,000 na total equity at ang makukuha nating sagot ay 1.19 na debt to equity ratio. Next part naman ng solvency ratio is yung the debt ratio. So, kadalasan ang debt ratio ay ginagamit sa business in order to determine na how much yung risk ng company nila na kailangan nilang malagpasan. So, sa debt ratio, ang formula naman natin ay total debt divided by total assets. Yun. At ang example naman natin dito is ang total debt natin, debt is meron tayong $108,047,000 divided by $338,516,000 na total assets at ang makukuha nating debt ratio is 0.32. And the last part ng solvency ratio is yung interest coverage ratio. Na it is important sa company because it is the financial metric that measures whether a company can pay their outstanding debts. So, the general rule dito is the higher the ratio, the better position of a company na makakabayad sila ng mga obligations nila, interest obligations. So, sa interest coverage ratio, meron tayong formula na it is equals to earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization divided by the interest expense. So, meron tayong $76,477,000 divided by $3,576,000 and makukuha natin ay 21.39. The next is the efficiency ratios. So these ratios indicate how efficiently a company is able to utilize its available asset or convert its inventory into cash. So importante ang efficiency ratios dahil dito makikita kung gaano ka-epektibo ang isang kumpanya sa pagmamanage ng kanyang assets and resources. So under ng efficiency ratios ay meron tayong tatlong formula na ginagamit. Ito ang receivables turnover ratio that is equals to sales divided by accounts receivable. Inventory turnover ratio that is equals to cost of goods sold divided by inventories. Asset turnover ratio that is equals to sales divided by total assets. The first is the receivables turnover ratio. So it is important to the companies because it helps to quantify how well the companies manage the credit that they extend to the customers. So dito din nalalaman kung gaano katagal na makokolekta lahat ng outstanding debt ng mga customers throughout the accounting period. So the first one is the receivables turnover ratio that is equals to sales divided by accounts receivables. For our example ay makikita natin na meron tayong sales na $260,174,000 that will be divided to accounts receivable na $22,926,000. Ang makukuha nating sagot ay 11.35. The next is the inventory turnover ratio. So it is important dahil dito nasusukat kung ang companies generate sales from its stocks. And the second part ng formula ay meron tayong inventory turnover ratio. So, it is equal sa cost of goods sold divided by its inventories. So, sa example natin ay makikita natin na meron tayong cost of goods sold na 161,782,000 na i-divide natin sa inventories niya na 4,106,000. At ang makukuha nating sagot ay 39.40. The formula of asset turnover ratio, it is equals to sales divided by total assets. So sa example natin, meron tayong sales na 260,174,000 divided by sa total assets natin na 338,516,000 at ang makukuha nating sagot ay 0.77. The next naman is yung asset turnover ratio. So it is important because the higher asset turnover ratio, the more efficient is yung company to generate its revenue from the assets. The last is the profitability ratios. So these ratios demonstrate a company's efficiency to use its asset to generate profit. So it is important because dito nakaka-catch ng attention ng mga investor dahil dito nakikita kung yung business is nag-ooperate na maganda, then it is ang advantage ito is yung mga future investment ng mga investor. There are two formulas na ginagamit sa profitability ratios. Ito yung return on total asset that is equals to earning before interest and taxes divided by total assets, and next is the return on total equity that is equals to net income divided by total equity. Return on total asset, dito makikita kung yung company is nagge-generate ng earnings, and then pwede mo siyang i-compare sa other competitors. Return on total asset, ang formula niya is it is equal sa earnings before interest and taxes divided by total asset. So sa example natin, makikita natin na meron tayong earnings before interest and taxes na 63,930,000 divided by total assets na $338,516, and makukuha nating sagot ay 18.9%. And the last is the return on total equity. So the higher the return on total equity, the better, because dito nakikita na mas mabilis yung progress ng isang company. Last is the return on total equity that is equal to net income divided by total equity. Sa example na makikita natin ay meron tayong net income na 55,256,000 divided by the total equity na 90,488,000, at ang makukuha nating sagot ay 61.1%. Before we end our presentation, I would like to give a quotation that is given by Chinkitan. Save now, enjoy later. Spend all your money now, suffer later. So it is important na makapag-save tayo ng pera as early as we are, dahil dito tayo kukuha ng source of fund natin kapag mayroong mga emergencies para sa mga future goals natin. And then palagi tayo magiging handa sa anumang pwedeng mangyari. And then on the other hand naman, kapag ginastos naman natin yung pera, is tayo din yung magsasuffer dahil wala tayong makukuha ng source of fund in case of an emergency, kapag may mga nangyaring sakuna. So ayun, as a students, we should save and invest money para sa mga future goals natin sa buhay.